Okay. There we go. And so this is a message about robot hiring and human hiring and the metrics that we want to have with these. The government needs to control this a lot. And it's more important that the government controls this and allows people to have jobs enough for the demand, and also a demand for people to work where people need jobs and live with jobs, with robots. And we need to have good metrics, like good ways of saying, are we going to hire a robot or are we going to have a human work? And even AI has another one. And we don't want to eliminate jobs. We want to benefit, create opportunities for growth in a company that would be able to create more jobs. And so if one or two people need to be replaced with robots so that a company can grow enough to support more work, then we can do that. The labor force shouldn't be hindered. And the labor force shouldn't be the labor force shouldn't be taken away. We work to supplement, not replace. There's a difference. We supplement work and we help alongside. I think that's a better attitude that we need to take as a country if we go about the robotics thing. Is that we make laws to hinder replacement, but we make supplement. Now, if we had every robot working at a level that we could supplement everybody's, then we would pass a law with all the robots at one time working. And, it's more than working around the house and doing stuff around the house. And that, may take, it's more supplementing people's freedom. So that way they have more freedom to do the work they want to do with their life or not work with their life. And that's important that we give people freedom. But we want to go about this as an elected process where you have the applicants, you have the employer, and you have the government. And the three come together, or the applicants, the government, the nonprofit. It could be something like that. And I guess you can consider that the employer, depending on what it is. So the church, the government, and the people, and the person wanting the job are the people that should be given some say as far as how many robots should work. I mean, the government and the employer should work together. And this will require more intelligence We need more intelligence towards bookkeeping in order to do this. So that way, if they're audited, they can say, well, this you can afford, we'll allow this job to be given to robots because no one wants it. And and it can work that way and save you money. And we have jobs that everyone wants, and so we're going to allow people to have those jobs instead of, what's a demanding job, what's a job that's dangerous, what's a job that's spontaneous that causes injury, what's a job that is monotonous. What does a job that's good for people, what's a job that's bad for people? Like basketing produce with a machine running it and being on the line. That's very heavy level labor, and a robot would be better in those situations. Something like that is, where you're barely keeping up, you can barely do it. Those ones should be more robotic and have a robotic line to them. It's more what requires a robot, what doesn't, what is in demand by people and what isn't, and what is dangerous and needs to have a robot do it. That's what we see. And so in less demand, we can put robot jobs in it, but we want to do it in a way where it's only supplemental. And when we can do it where it's supplemental, and we want to give the good robots, we want to give the good people the good jobs. We don't want to give the robots the good jobs unless it's highly dangerous and hard on people to do physically. And, we want to do that for people, give them the good jobs. Also, the robots are owned by people, not the employer. And so we want to allow people to own the robots. So that way we're only supplementing robot needs until we see the how much we can take supplementally jobs and boost the economy, because we only want to do it where we boost the economy. And sure, you can have some type of unitary take a person's job and do all the task of it. But the thing is, people are more efficient than some of these robots right now. They just may cost more over several years. And we want to tell big business that the people get what they want, not the employers get what they want most of the time. We want to level it like that, because we're trying to keep the economy right. And what I mean is the employers get employees, not robots. The people get the robots and are able to use the robots. And I don't mean robots that are specific for a job where they're on an assembly line. These robots are more geared for that work. And so they have maybe a type of chip they use for that, some type of coding that is done by the robot company, by the robot company, by the robot company, not by the workplace. We want them out of the source code. We don't want them in the source code. We don't want people outside the robotic company having the source code with the government controlling it, very much so. And so this is what we have to do. I can't stress that enough. If you take away the robots from people where they can't have robots totally, then you're going to have a robot prohibition and you're going to develop crime that way. Now, crime's already developed in some technology, but we can keep them out of it. But you have to let the people own the robots and have the robotic company do all the work. They don't open the robots, they send it to the manufacturer. That balances the robot company so that they have work they can do. They have the government keeping it regulated that way, and they have a business to fix the robots and keep the robots going. Sure. And what I also see is that once Optimus gets a skin on it to have like a cat girl, and they're working on that, is to have a cat girl model that can do that. People are more likely going to buy the ones with the skins. They're going to buy the skins for people so they can change them up and play with them. And so that's what people are going to do. And I am concerned about underpopulation. People want to be faithful to one thing instead of having a wife and having the plaything robot, which is kind of bad. But if people are buying robots, there needs to be some type of designation with that. And they need to say you're designated to this one. That way it keeps down disease. You don't want people all playing with that in a household, which is gross. But that's what we have to understand that people may do. That's why they need one robot. And sure, you can have one person say, this is that skin, this is their skin, this is their skin, and that's gross still. Plus, I don't think they're those pelvis uh the pelvises to those things are so delicate that you could make a robot not stop walking because you damaged its body or the other way around. And so that's what I have to say is that any kind of robot prohibition isn't good. But if you do it with businesses, they'll so you pass a law that businesses can't have robots that are not grandfathered in and approved by the government. It's regulated all over. It's a regulation that they have to follow, like taxes. When they get new robots, they have to fill out a form and send it into the government. Or message it. Message. Like a W-2 kind of. And they send it in. And so the government can watch this. The labor department can watch the robot labor. They want a robot labor department and a human labor department and a purpose department. Put those together. And I'm sure you already have a robot department, but those should be said so you don't have to deal with people saying that all the time. But robot reform, it's more supplemental, and you're the one that gives the command to the robot. And we want to be able to do a message to a robot and only have it work for so many robots at once, and have those messages sent to an AI that scans the system to see what kind of commands it's getting, and seeing if humans can watch the commands through intelligence and figure out if a command is bad or if they're up to no good, or and keep trackers on the robots so that way they can figure this out. More keep robots in their home early on so they don't get stolen. But if the government wants to roll out massive robots for everyone, that's good. But we need to figure this out as a country and have this work the way it's supposed to work. But we don't want to use up all the resources for countries. We don't want to use up all our resources to try to build all these robots. And if we build too many, it's bad. We don't need to build too many. 10 billion is okay. That's the most that we can build. But there's a certain demand that takes place, and people want only so much of something to run sometimes. And so we have to stop human greed. People don't want to get famous with their company in some ways. And so that could be an avenue to say, well, you don't want to get famous. You just want to have money. Or you just want to have some kind of notoriety, but you don't want to have too much. You need some type of enforcement to say that what you're doing works only so well. And then you understand that also, that it's only going to work so well. It's going to have problems. You're going to have, robots create problems too. But that source code needs to be protected. It's protected and monitored for the robot companies. They need to be local only, where they don't communicate to some other source and have them work. If they need updates, then the government runs the updates. I think they're more of a government thing than a businessman thing. But the businessmen's people can buy them and build them and maintain them. And so that's what can be done. And they protect that source code and protect how they control these things. And that's it. That's all I got. Okay, guys. That was a good one. So, this is more a script to the government. They can use this to tell people how they plan to do things so that they fix everything. This is how I would do it. Oh, and people still get conscripted because they need people to do that. Or, you know what I mean. It's still a punishment. to some people. But you know, that's more up to the government how they're going to handle that. Okay, that's it. All right, thank you.